Okay, this is Korea the Forgotten War. It's part of the Operational Combat series and it's from MMP Games. It's a bit of a small one this time, only 5.5 feet from top to bottom, the map, with about 28 inches across, so it's a bit of a baby. Now, I'm playing it with a full 3 maps. You can play it with a 2 map option where you basically, when the war's in the south, you're not using the top map over here, and when the war's in the north, you're not using the bottom map. And there's special rules to do that, so you could get it on a 4 foot by 3 foot table. Now this is currently on a 10 foot by 4 foot configuration, so there's a lot of spare room. If we look at the game itself, OCS is probably a bit of a Marmite game. It's very much concentrated on the concept of logistics and supply as the controlling force for military activity, which is actually correct, but it's some people, well, quite a lot of people would say it's not that fun to have to manage all your supply at this level. I've played OCS before. I like it. In a perverse way, I like the logistics side of it, but there's a lot of people who this would not be to their taste. The actual game itself, the map's beautiful, and it's a lot better than most OCS maps. It's not got that really glossy surface that the others have. It's got quite a nice matte finish, and the colours are quite subdued. Particularly some of the other games, they're really brightly coloured. If you look at Burma, for example, particularly Tunisia 1 was the map was a horror. This one's good. I like it. In terms of the components, nice counters, no counter misalignment. I've clipped them, though you don't have to clip them, they come out reasonably well. The rule book is nice rules, coming in at what, 48 pages. This is version 4.1, it goes up to 4.3. At 48 pages, it's just creeping over into what I'd call very complicated game. And there's also about 8 pages of Korean special rules there, which is not bad for this series. Like the North African one's got about 25 pages of special rules, so that isn't too bad. The rule book's hard work if you're not into OCS. There's a lot of concepts here that you're really going to struggle with unless you're familiar with it. Different modes, the way all the supply system hangs together, how much everything costs. So what on Board Game Geek, there's quite a few little things you can print off that will help you. This gives you all your modes and what happens, how modes actually affect your attacks, defenses, barrages, movement, etc. You got information on how the transport system works for moving things around, particularly you'll be moving a lot of supply around. There are other things. If you just let me come over here, you've got stuff on OCS supply, trade supply, fuel supply, combat supply, how it all works. These are really, really useful. Even if you know OCS, it's a good idea to print these off. You've got your OCS turn summary, which gives you an expanded way of looking at it, and you can also move down these tracks as you're playing the games. It should tell you where you're up to. And then you've got these charts here that do all your like air stuff, give you a nice little flow chart on how all that works. Let's go back again, well back here. If we look at what comes with the game, we've got some reasonable play aids, quite nice. No, nothing brilliant about them. They're in a few colours. The good thing about them on that side is they're printed, you know, top to bottom. That looks brilliant. But on this side, they're upside down on the top to the bottom, which I thought was a bit daft. But then again, it might take less table. Well, it would take less table space. That's not an issue. The rules have got an index, sort of. It's not a proper index. It's sort of an index by subject, and then it'll tell you everything related to that subject underneath it and where it is, sort of. What I found looking through that, there's still stuff that you can't find. I was looking for organic trucks, and I couldn't find that. In terms of videos, there's lots of OCS videos on the internet, on YouTube. A lot of them are Vassal based, and some of them assume you know a lot about OCS. I haven't found any which I think are absolutely brilliant, but I found a set that I'm looking at the moment where the guy goes through all the rules and then he goes through examples in Smolensk and Tunisia 2. It's very, very slow, but he goes into incredible detail. Those are the best I've found. I wish I could remember what the actual video series is. I'll post something on here when I put this up onto the YouTube, saying what actual video series I'm looking at. The reason I picked this is because Time Ghost Army have just started doing a Korean War week by week. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They've done a brilliant World War One week by week and World War Two week by week, and the Korean War is now getting the treatment. So this is what I've got set up here. I've tended where these white blocks are. Those are where all your supply dumps are. The coloured cubes represent where your HQ units are, which are really vital for your supply net, and the brown cubes represent supply sources. Trying to think, is there anything else I want to say about this game? It's out of print, and you'll only be able to get a copy on the second-hand market. I don't know what sort of price it commands, but it's not like Case Blue. It's not a ridiculously expensive game to get hold of. Now there is another game in this series, which not in this series, in covering this subject, which is Korea, the Victory Points game, which has been redone by Compass Games as a deluxe game. That's I've done videos on that, and I've played it before. Now I played it a long time ago when it first came out, and I thought it was brilliant, but when I did a replay I didn't like it. I didn't, because I thought it was too swingy. You know, the way they're using 10-sided dice for everything, and a couple of bad rolls, and one side could lose the game. It's just that for me sort of blew it. But and it's also radically different system from anything I've seen before. It's still a nice game, and if you've never played it before, I'd recommend you give it a go. That's probably a lot easier to get than this one, and also you don't have the rules overhead that you've got with OCS. Right, that's pretty much it. I know people have I've had quite a lot of feedback from the Battle of Normandy, especially my comments on the grind. And fair enough. I'm not saying there's anything fundamentally wrong with the game. It reproduces the Battle for Normandy pretty effectively. The only problem is it wasn't fun to play. you're sort of thinking, right, I've only got 26, 30 supply points this term, so I've got to micromanage them and look for tiny areas on the board where I can maximise my use of those combat supplies. It wasn't doing it for me. That's all. I've got no complaints about the game apart from the way the combat supply system puts a straitjacket around the whole thing. But you know, these things, it's personal opinion. It's nothing else. You know, someone else might find that really challenging and an interesting problem to overcome. Right, so that's it. Where are we up to? 10 minutes. That'll do for the moment.